Hello and welcome to 15-Minute Gamer. My name is Tony and this is a review on 911 Operator. It's on the PC, it's on Steam now. It is $10.99 of your UK pounds and it's currently running at 82% positive reviews from 1,208 reviews on Steam. So, what do I think after a few hours playing it? So in an old job, I actually used to work in a control room, so I love games like this because it really reminds me of being in the control room and all the fun you used to have on responding to calls and talking to people and so forth. So when I saw this one come out, it had a nice art style, it seemed to work really well. I'd watched a few videos on it and I thought, this game does seem to be made by people who kind of understand the 911 operator role. Like, they include little tips beforehand that say, do you know what to do if someone does this? Or what do you do if there's a bomb? Or when should you call 911? Etc. Like little tooltips beforehand. And I was like, that is a nice little touch. I like that. So I picked the game up on launch day and I played just under 2 hours of it in total. And I'm going to explain why I only played just under 2 hours in total. However, there is about 3 or 4 videos on my channel. You can go and check them out now. I'll link in the description, showing some gameplay, me talking about it and me playing it, and working through the first couple of levels of the game. So the first thing that really bugged me about this, and I clicked to buy the game, got it on launch day, was installing it, and I was like, what's this? Clicked on it. It's got downloadable content already on the game. And without giving too much away, there's not too much in this game as it is. To then offer DLC to the game for $3.99, which isn't maybe much, it's not. However, it offered 8 new emergency vehicles and 6 special equipment types. So you got things like tasers, a defib unit, heavy fire suit, bomb defuse robot, medical bike, large ladder, mobile hospital, that sort of thing. And I was kind of like, this content should be included in the game. Yes, if it was a few months down the line and, you know, everyone was saying, oh, just, you know, there's not enough content, and then they bring that out to say, look, there is enough content now. To deliberately withhold this content from a, to be fair, content light game from the beginning kind of annoyed me. And I was sitting there going, do I buy it? Or I don't know what to do because I don't know how much of my enjoyment of the game could I potentially lose on this new game, which again I thought was possibly in early access. It's not. This is a full release game, and also they have not updated the game since February 25th. There's no patches, there's no bug fixes, there's been no updates, there's been no extra content, no anything. So if they think they've got a completed game and they just took some content out so they could make more money, it's a practice I'm not particularly happy with. I know some people disagree with me there, and yes, a lot of AAA games do that, and that's a lot of time why AAA games annoy me. They deliberately withhold content to make money off from you at a later date. This practice is creeping into the indie market, and a game like this, I would expect it to be very content rich. It is still $10.99 at the end of the day, and that isn't just a couple of quid for someone to throw away. It's quite a bit of money, to be fair. So anyway, apart from that, what's the game like? The game is actually pretty exciting. The amount of calls, the amount of instances it throws you at once. There's been times where you're just like, oh my god, I don't know what to do. You're like all over the place. You're trying to respond. You're trying to answer calls. You're trying to do this. The multitasking is incredible. It does it really well. It just gets to that point where it's about to overwhelm you, and then just gives you that little thing for you just to resolve them situations. And each call has kind of like a countdown timer when you get there. And there's times where you just sit and watch that going 5, 4, 3. So you can get your units to the next call. And also it means you got a bit of prioritizing to do. And I would maybe like to see because all you can do is press ignore or wait on a call. I would probably like you to be able to press wait and then be able to put in a queue to go, right, okay, I want to wait. That one is a priority 1, that one is a priority 2, that one is a priority 3, that one's not very important, so I'm going to put that on the bottom. So once it's resolved, you can just click on the call and just send all the units to priority 1 or priority 2 or whatever. I would have liked to seen that coming. That would have been a nice little feature for the game. Also, if you accidentally click ignore, wait and ignore above each other, it just cancels the call. And I was responding to a call in this game where someone's getting murdered, I think it was, and I clicked ignore by total mistake instead of wait, and it cancelled the call. And I was kind of like, sure, you should give me a tooltip to go, are you sure you want to cancel this? Or could it then place it in ignore queue for a couple of minutes? I don't know. Something needs to be done about that, though, because it was very, very irritating and ruined that bit of a playthrough for me. So the gameplay is actually a lot of fun. I enjoyed my time playing this game. The graphics and sound, yes, are basic, and the calls aren't too badly voice acted, to be fair, because when you answer the calls, they do come through as voice, and then you speak to them, and you've got to pick multiple choice answers on how to resolve them. So it could seem slightly innocent, but then you've got to go off and look deeper into it. And the example was a pizza call, and when you look into it, it's not about pizza, it's about somebody who needs to escape because they're getting held hostage. So you do have to look into it, and there will just be random instances that occur, just like fire, and you just click yes, respond, and send your units across to that. You've got the medics, the police, and the fire brigade, and you've got to respond to each call. They pop up on the map, red for fire example, little fire symbol. If you got the police, they respond to a different icon. Some calls do require 2 units, so you might have to send ambulance, fire, and police for some. You might have to send police and ambulance. Something happens while you're there and there's a shootout, you may then have to send the ambulance afterwards to get to that call. The radio chat is pretty good. It usually keeps you informed of what's happening. Again, it is basic, but it does the job. And I think this game on a mobile phone would be brilliant. If they could get to work on a mobile or tablet or something like that, this game would be really, really good. It's that sort of game. It's the sort of game you'd pick up for 10, 20 minutes, have a bit of a play around, and then turn it off. Each day is around about 15 minutes, which is perfect for my videos. So yeah, as a mobile game, this would be pretty good. So the reason I didn't really play this much over 2 hours is because the game gets a little bit repetitive. It does say there's like 150 scenarios or calls or something. I didn't see this. It seems to repeat the same ones over and over again, just on a different map. And you complete each map basically by getting reputation and money, and then the more money you can buy more vehicles, you can hire more police and respond to more calls, etc. So there is that element of progression, because the calls do get a little bit more tougher, and also you have to be managing more units when they go to them. However, seeing the same calls coming up and up and up and up, I was kind of like, after 2 hours, I was kind of like, I don't think this is going to go anywhere else, and I would like to see maybe a workshop again. Could you implement workshop in it so people could make their own calls? Because it'd be quite cool if you could get the community involved in making calls and adding that little bit of variety to it a bit more than stuff you just came up with. So that's why I didn't really hold my attention much past that, because it was just kind of starting to repeat the same calls again, and I was starting to get a little bit of a feeling of deja vu, and I knew how to answer the calls and how to respond, and it became almost like a second nature just to click where I wanted to click, and that was it. And, you know, after a few hours into a game, I would be expecting a little bit more, especially when, again, bring back the DLC, they want you to pay for extra DLC on the game already, which only had a few extra vehicles in it. Also, another lacking little feature I would have loved to see is once you outfit your crew members with special gear, you can't see then what car they're in or anything like that. You can't rename the units or anything. It would be good to rename maybe one as an armed response unit, or one as this, or one as that, so you knew which unit. I mean, they are labelled 1, 2, 3, and 4, but then you've got to kind of remember the numbers. There's no way to uniquely identify the unit you're sending to a scene. So I think that really, really needs to be worked on. Some other features I liked, and you would have seen them earlier in the video, is at the end of every day you get a summary saying what happened in the call, was anyone injured, anyone arrested, and then at the start of every day you get your duty roster, and you get to assign crews, hire staff, buy vehicles, that sort of thing. I thought that worked pretty well, and it's nicely and it's quite easy to use. It's a nice little UI on there, easy to use, and you can see where your units are. If your officer's injured, they drop into the like it's kind of a reserve pile, and they'll sit there, and your firefighters can get injured, your ambulance staff, and they can buy better police cars, that sort of thing. So yes, I did like that. That was a nice little feature. I like the way it summed it up at the end, because some of these games you respond to the calls and then it doesn't sum them up afterwards. And you're like, well, what happened? So I like to see a little bit of what happened to each call. But to sort of end on a positive note, there is one awesome feature on this game. You can download your city and respond to calls around your city in it. It doesn't have the place names, as in it doesn't speak the place names. Obviously, that would be very difficult. However, they do really link in the real places in your city, so you'll be responding to calls. And I think that feature is absolutely brilliant. And again, imagine how awesome that would be showing your friends or family, on the mobile. Oh, look at this! It's like it's a simulation quite game, but look, that's where we live. That's where we live. And oh, look, there's like that sort of thing. It could be really good and really personalized. If you could do that. So summing up my impressions of this game, it is very close to being a really impressive game. At the moment, it kind of feels like a concept. If this was in early access, I would have been like, yes, go for it. As it's a full release, and they've not said anything on their newsfeed on Steam in about 3 or 4 weeks, it kind of worries me a little bit that they're just going to go, there you go. And that's it. And that worries me a little bit, and that's why I've kind of stopped playing. It is a little bit of the rinse and repeat. It's a little bit too repetitive. It just needs that little bit more, and I think with the few touches that I've mentioned in here, and a little bit of improvement, a little bit here and there, you could really have a really good recommended game. So for me, it's a solid 5 or 6. I don't like putting scores on these normally. It's a solid 5 or 6. You will get a couple of hours enjoyment out of it. It is fun. If they ever transport it to a mobile game, it would be getting an 8 or 9 out of 10. It is a lot of fun for a couple of hours. After that, though, it does get a little bit boring and a little bit repetitive, and also some of the calls a little bit unrealistic, since I've worked in that sort of role before. So yeah, my videos are on there. Check them out and see if it's your sort of thing, but just beware, it does get a little bit repetitive after a while. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this impressions video. I'm going to do more of these in the future, because I do play a lot of games and I should review them all. So I will catch you there. Goodbye.